So future Jordan should have set the thumbnail, but look what we have here. It's 20 scouts. And yeah, I'm gonna be using them on the Kitasan Black banner. Now I really regret using pretty much a lot of my scouts on the Musume banners. But you know what? No regrets, because if nothing else, well, the consolation card prize is supposed to be the cards, but an extra Hishi Amazon would be appreciated. Funny enough, a Sweet Tosho, but that's not what happened here. So I wasn't actually supposed to skip that, but I'll take whatever I can get, because we will need it eventually. I'm trying not to look forward into the future too much, but I can't really avoid it when I'm looking into things, specifically navigation, which probably might not be in the thumbnail, because I wanted to kind of highlight the fact that, yeah, we're going to be doing Gold Ship Sprint Rate, or we're going to try to force the Gold Ship Sprint Aptitude. I'll take an El Condor Pasa, though. That will be very much appreciated. Although, it will most likely just be for the... Oh, okay, and then the Hishi Amazon. So now I have a fully uncapped Hishi Amazon as well. And then I think I have a fully uncapped Agnes Digital now. I know I've scouted a lot of them, but anywho, as I sit here on 156 exchange points, well, I mean, I might use the rest that I have as it gets closer, but otherwise, yeah. If you didn't hear me mention it before, I did re-roll, quote unquote, for funsies, just to see if I could get Super Creek and or Fine Motion. That's a exclusive. Or Fine Motion. And I didn't get either in 400 scouts in the banner when the global servers, well, when I joined global servers for the first time, because I was, I think, a day or two late. But anywho, on to the main attraction. So, yeah, if you didn't already see, I was doing a lot of sprint inheritances. So I think specifically it's, well, we can check to be sure here. Basically, we're making sure that we have 2-star sprint everywhere. I couldn't get 3-star sprint, so I'm just working with what I've got. One of them being Haru Urara, and I think the other is King Halo, if I recall. Because that was what I was doing, and so yeah, we should have C Sprint Aptitude, and off we go. And I don't know if we can get to B, then the Legend Waste is certainly winnable. Now, am I going to be able to win it? Well, we'll see in about a day or two. So, yeah, without further ado. That being said, so if I'm gonna build, well, actually, no, we still want to, ooh, hold on. Well, we're still going to use Kitasan Black. Thank you very much, friend that I'm borrowing from. But, and it's not someone I know in real, it's literally just, you know, the bonds that bind. But, if you're going with Sprint, I think I'm just going to leave a Mayano Top Gun. And I think it's actually non-standard. Is it non-standard distance? I can say it right now. I need to do this here if for no one else than myself. But, I was actually looking at the right notes. I was looking at Umalock stuff, but... let's see, yeah, 1200 meters, never mind, that's standard distance, but these other perks skills aren't bad either. So focus, if I care about having focus as an end closer, probably not, but hey. And then let us, I think we're gonna replace this McQueen. Actually, I should replace both. In fact, should I? I need to think for a moment. Because, let's see, yeah, so my SR Hishi Amazon, I don't think I even leveled it at all. No, I didn't. But we would have a max uncapped. Unfortunately, I think I used all my support cards on Aoi here. And it's at 44, not at 45. So instead, I think we'll just... Do I just force the Hishi Amazon rare? I might actually. Yeah, I think I'm just going to force the rare. So, we're going to use a rare Hishi Amazon because I have no more resources left. This does mean I don't have Aoi. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I'm going to do this. So, we're going to go off with this. I would have liked to take Aoi, but if I had Aoi at level 45, I would have taken her, but that's not what happened. So, off we go. Again, as always, I pause for timestamps here and there. 5 stamina, 15 power, 10 guts. Yeah, my inspiration and legacies will be not great. So it's all gonna be on me. But otherwise, we should have pretty good odds. So we are going to try and focus power and stamina training, mostly. But if we have a good guts turn, specifically, or wits, then we'll go for it. We'll see, though. So there are things to talk about. I probably won't be taking any navigational skills. I just don't have the skill points. If I did want to, then I would. But at this point, no. So let's see. Hold on. Let me focus for a moment. Yeah, I think we'll just work on... If I see 2 support bonds, I'll work on the bonds. Then I'll increase mood through recreation. I should be doing the latter first, but I'm choosing not to. And then, yeah, later on I'll explain why, with the homework I did, navigational skills really aren't that useful. They still have an effect, it's just that, unfortunately, there are other, I think 3 main factors from what I've noted down, which I don't think have in front of me right now, but I'll explain when we get to a race, basically, that I care about, so... And I think we'll still grind for... No, yeah, I think we're just gonna focus on... Well, depends if we get our sprint aptitude to B. If we do get our sprint aptitude to B, then I should focus primarily on stats, although any little boost will do, and by that I mean upgrading the unique tier, even though this is not 3-star gold chip. I gotta do my best, so... I don't think we have anything, yeah, just wits again, I guess. Again, I would just want to push wits to 200. 200 to 300 is usually the break point. You don't want to be below 200 wits. Well, you definitely don't want to be at 150 wits or below, because your skill proc rate is so low that you can't consistently rely on that. Again, if you want actual information, the specific calculation is 9,000 divided by literally your wit stat. This is not the adjusted wits. Again, and I say this out loud if for no one else than for me to retain, but just in case I get it wrong, then other people can correct me. But 9,000 divided by 150 wits, and you take that value, which is 60 here, and then you well, it's 100 minus that calculation. So you would have a 40% chance for each skill to even be able to proc in a race, assuming its requirements are met. So that's not great, but as we move to 200 wits, that would be 9,000 divided by 200, take that value and remove, I forgot how to say it, but 100 minus 45, which is the resulting value we get, and now you suddenly have a 55% skill proc rate, which isn't still high, but at least it's a lot better than 40%. And then as you reach 400 wits, you get a 77.5% skill proc rate per skill. Again, each skill does this wisdom check, specifically is what the phrase is called. Again, just in case anyone doesn't know, I want to say it out loud, but for veteran trainers, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But Wits also plays other factors, like I think the randomization of speed during pretty much the first 2 parts of the race, the beginning and the middle, if I recall correctly. That's all I have to say at the moment. It doesn't seem like much though, but again, I have, if nothing else, we have resources available to actually see these things play out, essentially. So yeah, but in other words, I mean, we can simplify. We can kind of take a step back and simplify matters. Basically, I'm looking to get a lot of speed and power with this gold ship, which normally you should be doing anyway, because gold ship, if you're leaving her on end closer strat, you want gold ship to have pretty much just as much power as much speed, but then also stamina. You want stamina to survive, but that's a different story altogether. I don't even remember gold ship's growth rates. I can check it right now, but either way, because we're planning to build this gold ship for sprint races, assuming we get our sprint aptitude to B, then yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it? So, yeah, 20% extra stamina and then 10% extra power. Now, again, the nuance behind that is that we're probably always building speed anyway. The question is whether or not you put 2 stamina or 2 power. Usually you put 2 power for gold chip, but again, it really depends on what you're going for. Most of the time, obviously, the stable build has to be 4 to 5 speed and then add a wild card, whether it's wits, power, or stamina, or even possibly a pal card, meaning Aoi or Tazuna for the case of URA scenario. And if nothing else, this is my opinion, but I'm sure people have seen the resource online that tells you literally still 3 to 4 speed and then insert most likely stamina, but sometimes it can be power or a mix. It depends on what you have too, because if you're free to play, you don't have the luxury of choosing just cards that maybe level up, and you probably don't have the resources to get all your cards leveled like I do. Like I do, I can't level up everything I want to level up. Not that I have too much anyway, but you get what I'm trying to say, I think. So anywho, That being said, because we have to win, so the trick here for a gold ship specifically is that, or the tricky part, is that gold ship has goal races that are obviously medium and especially long. So you need to make sure you can survive your scenario if you're trying to make a better gold ship, essentially. If for no other reason than the extra 50-ish stat points in all of your stats at the end of the Yura A scenario, assuming you become champion, is it's a lot. It's a lot. That being said, I realize we're about to enter Hopeful Stakes. I think we still have enough stamina, but the problem, as we get a mood down, is we at least want to outstat our competition. Now, if we could do more power trainings, that would help out, but I don't think I have the turns to improve my mood. Either way, I'm taking a risk. Either I use Recreation and lose a turn of training, but increase my mood to great, or I risk training and risk having my mood stay at good, and hope that I run into an event that increases my mood. That's a common decision that you usually end up making. But anywho, we still might. Yeah, we need our stamina to increase. We need our stamina to increase soon. Not just for Hopeful Stakes, which is the goal race we have, but for the near future as well. It is certainly possible for you to. I think it's the third goal race after Hopeful. So the goal after Hopeful Stakes. The goal after the one that's after Hopeful Stakes, if that makes any sense. Anywho. Yeah, this is a bit unfortunate. We're still going to take it because of nothing else. We want the speed and power to take a lead before our stamina goes. So, hopefully, we'll see what happens. I keep forgetting. I never found out the answer. Because, again, I always have questions. And it should be kind of obvious anyway. But I still want to ask if the NPCs you run into are also effectively affected by the scenario. Basically, all of your stats increase by 400. That must be true for the other Musume as well, because otherwise that wouldn't make as much sense. Because then you would always have a very, 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 very good chance of winning. But maybe that is true. Or maybe they don't, or they aren't affected by 400 as well. That's why you can win so easy. That's why for the beginning goal races, you usually don't have any problems. Now, obviously, I've seen clips of other trainers failing their junior make debuts over and over and over again. That is still possible because when you get blocked, there's nothing you can really do. Which, as we move into the topic of navigational skills, in this case, Gold Ship's rare navigational skill. I forgot what it's called at the moment because I was looking up Japanese sources, so I'm mixing up the names in my head. But effectively know that while it does have an effect, it's not as much as you would probably want in the how it actually works because of how Musume vision works in this game. Waiting for the timestamp. But yeah, because of how vision works in the game, also because skills randomly proc, so you cannot choose when skills proc. So if a vision skill procs when you don't need it, which can happen at the very beginning of a race, that can cause issues. On top of the fact that I think there's another third reason that I had noted down because I did want to make sure I knew what I was saying here. But I guess we'll do this. I'm really hoping that an event increases our mood, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, there's another factor. Oh, yeah, that navigation or vision skills, so field of view skills in particular, I think that's the phrase that's used most often, that people ask about. So field of view skills, it's nice, but it doesn't help you pass other Musume anyway. So we even under the assumption that the field of view skill does allow your Musume to navigate better and make a move, if one, they can't make the move, or two, they can't make the move fast enough, then because of how the duration of these skills, which are normally like 2 to 3 seconds long anyway, I think it Gold Ship's, let's just look at the name because I keep forgetting the name, but the closest clear only lasts 3 seconds. I want to make sure, but I guess we'll go to training. But you get the point. It's not like a 5-second buff, and even with that, 5 seconds is not enough for... You're hoping for the stars to align, essentially. That's a short way to put it. And if you're hoping for that, then you might as well take a skill that directly helps you accelerate or speed up, because then there is a much higher chance for you to benefit from that skill, as opposed to just widening or increasing your field of view with the Coast is Clear skill. and then you either don't make the move fast enough, or you can't make the move at all because you're blocked on all sides, and you're blocked every which way anyway, aside from just speeding down, which Uma Musume don't normally do. But again, that's going into the nitty gritty of how Uma Musume make their decisions. But anywho, I am missing a lot of stamina, by the way. But that's essentially the reason why. I might still take navigational skills, and you certainly want to take it because navigational skills are very, very likely to proc, especially if your wits rate is high. It's just that they don't have as much of an effect as one would like to hope, if nothing else. But that's another, yeah, that's something else too. That's talking about team trials in particular. In a side of a race, again, basically the paraphrase summary is that you're waiting for the stars to align because, again, you need to be able to make the move, you need to make the move properly, and then the vision has to last long enough for it to even matter. Although, by the time, because if I recall correctly, because I could just look at it in front of me, so we do have B sprint aptitude, so we can hit B. Can we hit A is the question. I guess we'll find out, because then I actually have to pay attention and make sure that this gold chip is ready for the legend race. But anywho, yeah, thankfully, because of the lower stamina requirements and therefore guts requirements as well, our stamina doesn't need to be as high. So funny enough, this might actually be a better run. Now, I've never used rare Hishi Amazon and vodka with the support cards, so I guess I'm gonna find out just how many. So yeah, I think we'll watch this race really quickly, if nothing else. This was one of the races I was scared of. Actually, it's the next one that I'm more scared of, but hey, I want to look at something. So, because I think once an Uma Musume decides on who they want to overtake, there's not really a change. And yes, I am looking at a certain thing here. So it's not like I'm doing anything myself. I am basing this off of what I assume. I trust the source of this information. So, and by that I mean it's not just some random page online, but let's go on as the game decides to choose and load anyway. I probably should just search for the term that I'm looking for here. I don't know why I've done this to myself. So yeah. But yeah, if you're out of HP, you can't do anything, so your Uma Musume literally just runs out of stamina and goes down to her minimum speed and can't do anything. She doesn't even, I'm pretty sure what this means is you can't even overtake anyone because you don't. That's just what happens. Oh my goodness. Immediately late start, immediately rushed. Goodness. But yeah, and then yeah, you're basically, again, I'm paraphrasing it because I don't want to use technical terms at the moment, even though I should really. But it's not really too different from what I'm seeing here. So you're trying to overtake an Uma Musume that you want to pass. So there is basically a vision range of pretty much up to 20 meters. Yeah, 1 to 20 meters in front. And there are, basically, what you see visually does matter. Like, there's a width to the race course. There is a distance in between, or there's a width and a length distance that your Uma Musume can consider. And the racetrack itself, although different racetracks apparently have different widths, basically there's room to maneuver. And so when your Uma Musume is making decisions, then you can move left, right. She can move left, right, choose who she wants to try and pass, so on and so forth. I think it's usually, yeah, so the closest Uma Musume blocking in front is automatically an overtake target. So yeah, that's one. But just to see, all overtake targets are all visible Uma Musume between 1 and 20 meters in front, whose distance gap divided by speed gap is less than 15, meaning she can be caught up within 15 seconds at the current speed difference, which is currently what our gold chip is kind of doing, even though we're in the final spurt phase, so it's not actually correct. But if you are blocked by someone, then you have to overtake that target before you can do the final spurt in full, if that makes any sense. And if nothing else, I know this for myself because I've seen it in my face as I was training Haru Urara, because I recently had a very terrible Haru Urara run. I don't even remember if I got I think I did get champion. Oh no! It's because, yeah, so if you didn't see on my discussion page of my YouTube channel here, Gold Ship trolled me. So, one, I lost the recording that I actually did, which is, I was bamboozled because we got the carrot gift and I was focusing on that. But I lost the recording because Gold Ship decided to, well, Gold Ship took 3 of my clocks. Haru Urara also took 3 of my clocks, but Gold Ship took 3 of my clocks for pretty much no reason. Because she was blocked, essentially. Like, she was actually blocked. I had 800 plus power and speed and enough stamina. I know I have enough stamina. Pretty much around 500 plus recovery skills, and recovery skills were proccing, so it certainly wasn't that. Also, on top of that, I was being blocked by a line of Musume, or Goldship was being blocked by a line of Musume, of which she had to swerve right and left, like her brother, question mark, in real life? Anywho. You get what I'm trying to say. That happened many times in a row. It doesn't normally happen, and funny enough, having a lot of power does help out immensely. Or maybe it was because I didn't have enough power. I might be confusing it with my Haru Urara run, but anywho. Basically, power is very important, and I'll explain later too. I feel pretty confident in saying what I'm thinking of right now, or what I've thought about in terms of power, and I think it does make sense. But yeah, to at least try and complete the topic of overtaking Musume that are blocking you, then yeah, your Musume, essentially, for those who don't know, does make decisions based on who she wants to pass, or whether or not it's appropriate, and whether or not anything else is happening, like you're getting debuffed, or you just ran out of power and you just kaput in the middle of the race. But again, that normally happens at the end, because that's when your HP runs out, which causes a lot of problems for trainers that may not know as much. Did we fail this, by the way? I guess we're gonna find out as the game thinks for a second. Yes, we did. Ah, her ankle! But this is late June, by the way. Thankfully, we're going to summer vacation, so we can rest here. I didn't want to. I was actually autopiloting, so I wasn't conscious of the summer training. I just looked up and saw late June, and I was like, oops. Which I was supposed to enter Takarazuka Kinen as well, but because I want to focus on stats here, I guess I'm gonna apologize to my club early and just try to focus on getting my stats up. Although it's not too late. Japan Cup is the next big fan increase, if I so want it. But yeah, here on the other hand, yeah, I'll just do wits. We don't need as much guts. I think 200 guts is more than enough. Although that's a very shaky approximation. I should actually take a look just to be certain. Goodness. Is it this? It might be this. No, it might be this. I'm going absolutely insane. Smash watermelons for power. Speed should be fine. It's the power that I should not have enough of. So, let us continue onward here. So we should be able to do one more training. It's probably going to be power, funny enough. Yeah, it's certainly going to be power. If for no other reason, our other speed supports aren't at Orange Bond anyway, so our friendship training... Well, although it's a maxed Kitasan Black, it's nice. But... wow, I can't see it. I guess it's not here. Well, either way... let us continue onward. So let's just schedule this race. I'm pretty sure I should have enough fans. Yeah, 31,000 fans. I almost just said 30. But we should be able to enter Japan Cup, and with that, we should be good for pretty much the entire run. Maybe we don't get the last Christmas upgrade, but I don't really need it. But in this particular... oh, no, we know we need a rest. There's no way I'm gambling on that. 28%? Come on now. Other trainers will, and I would actually advise you to consider doing it if you're confident. I'm just not confident, so shrug. That being said, my stamina is a bit low. That's also another reason why I want to focus on power, but either way, power stamina is going to be the way to go. 500 speed is going to be more than enough past the senior year, but that's a just trust me bro statement from me to you. So if you don't believe me, I'm saying this based on my own experience with so many gold chip runs in my life. But anywho, yeah, I guess here we do take this. Now, we might not have enough stamina, but we should have enough to grab at least another rare skill. The problem is we have low wits on top of our low stamina, so now I'm a bit scared. But otherwise, it's not here. I'm going crazy. And also, if for no other reason, I was figuring out what I wanted to say, really, as we get the Gourmand skill. I keep wanting to say perk. I'm going crazy. Anywho. Let us take after school stroll, and that probably isn't going to be enough, but we're going to rely on our power and speed. Our stamina is really low for where I'd want to be, but it's actually... oh no, it needs to be higher. It needs to be higher anyway. Never mind. I'm going crazy. I should be training stamina during the summer. Well, this is going to be really tricky. Basically, I'm looking for a lot of power trainings from now on to help increase stamina until we get to senior year summer and try to survive. So we're going to watch this race. If for no other reason than to just give anyone else who wants to watch or analyze data. Even though, obviously, veteran trainers probably have enough data, either through word of mouth, written guides, and or experience, or just watching races in general. But I'm trying to look for a thing. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, I guess I'm gonna do this. Oh goodness, the game is loading anyway. I have the moment to do stuff. So, without further ado, as we move on here, we are missing stamina and we're also low on guts, but that shouldn't matter as much, although the guts is primarily for the final spurt anyway, so either way I am missing something. But I would rather have more stamina than guts. And we get a late start, so doesn't matter as much for end closers, apparently, but... And I do believe that, it's just I'm thinking of something else. So, let us make sure. These are mechanics that we don't have yet, so never mind. So yeah, it must be in this one then. But as we stay here again, we're in our gold ship is going to be end closer, as intended. There are better end closer racers later on, but those Musume, I am a gold ship loyalist, but I will obviously train other Musume as well. There's good reason to, but as I look for something in the background, and we're kind of just lagging behind. I have not heard a single skill yet, and now we're rushed, so there goes all of our HP. Basically, for those who don't know, being rushed is a 1.6 multiplier to your stamina use. End of sentence. So I guess we're going to find out if we kaput during this race. Actually, I think I have a thing instead. Yeah, I actually just have the thing in front of my face, so... Let us just look that up, unless I put it somewhere else. And I will move on with life. Oh, it's not here. It's somewhere else. I'm going absolutely crazy. But as we are reaching the midpoint of this race, yeah, as long as we... if I look back and we're suddenly in last, that's how we know that we run out of stamina, for sure. But what I'm looking for specifically... Is it not this? No, it's this. So if I do this... No, that's the... race threshold. So again, for those who don't know, the only thing I remember is Arima Kinen, which I think is power and stamina, but essentially having 300, every 300 in a stat gives you an extra bonus. I think it's like specifically 5%-ish. But you get a bonus to your overall speed if you fulfill thresholds for certain race tracks, I think, not just races. So, shrug. But yeah, I'm not looking at the right one, so... I guess I'm gonna do this and see if I can see anything. So yeah, if anything, we will probably be losing all of our HP now, which it seems like is happening. So yeah, being rushed really hurt us here. I mean, you can see it on top before the final spurt there. We were kind of just lagging behind. So yeah, being rushed, and I don't know if we proc the recovery skill, but if we didn't proc it, that's going to cause us to suffer here. Now, I would like to not clock if possible, but... Shrug! Otherwise, funny enough, if he hit 450 stamina, we should be able to survive the URA scenario on top of being able to do the legend race. But nope, we were 8th or something, 9th, 10th. Well, you get what I'm saying. But yeah, we really need to proc that stamina perk. Oh, goodness gracious. So yeah, around here you should usually have at least 270 stamina, but I personally like to have 300. If you have stamina perks, or skills... then feel free to go 250, but here it's a lot lower. Also, our wits are at 166, so we, like I mentioned earlier, we pretty much are flipping a coin and hoping that our stamina skill procs at least 200 meters out from the beginning of the race. Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, I could actually just try it out now, but, or look at things now. Kikuka Sho. So, off we go again. Hopefully we don't get rushed this time. We get a late start again. But that is not controlled by wits, as far as I remember, because I think I was corrected for that. But, as for being rushed, that's pretty much 15%, if that's based on adjusted wits and not base wits. But it's 15% to me. Close enough, it doesn't matter. If it's actually like a 30-20% with the wits we have, I don't really care. It's 15% to me. Now, you shouldn't do that. I wouldn't advise people to think that way. But for me, if you hand me a coin flip, or a 15% coin, it's pretty much a coin flip. And if you hand me a coin flip, I can treat it as 15%. That's my little fallacy that I believe in for myself. Even though that, again, that makes no sense at all. But I promise you, if you haven't heard it before, the reason why I believe in that for myself is because of the subset, my own subset fallacy, in which, again, I'll mention it one more time here, but if you flip a coin 3 times and call it wrong all 3 times, There will be people who call it wrong 3 times. Oh goodness, we need to proc this recovery skill, please! Please proc your recovery skill, that's the only hope we have left, otherwise we don't have enough stamina. Also the fact that we don't have... Yeah, Guts is also hurting us here, but it's primarily a stamina issue. So, 3,000 meters. 3,000 meters in Kyoto. Running right, or clockwise. We'll see. So, let's do this. So, all of our stats are boosted by an extra 400, but I don't know if that... I would think that happens before the race even starts. How much HP you have? Question mark? But I guess we're gonna find out. So, if I do this, I mean, either way... No, that's not true. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. Goodness gracious. Pain. Actually, funny enough, aren't we... Don't we have A aptitude? Yeah, we should. But, we're gonna assume we don't proc anything, and so let's see what happens. So, as we enter the final spurt, and yeah, if we don't proc any stamina perks, I think we just lose again. We can already see it happening, whether or not we're blocked. We are blocked a little bit, but I feel like that's just our stamina failing us, so shrug. And it will fail us, because I know we're gonna run out of stamina. I feel confident we are, but let's see for sure. So, Kyoto, if I recall. Kyoto 3000. Sunny firm weather, it seems like, as TM Opera O wins this race. Hey, breath of fresh air right at the end. That is not going to help. It happened on the last part of the straight. Oh my goodness. Well, clocking. Well, this is going to be one of the funniest videos I've ever made for myself in terms of Global Musume, but anywho. I don't think that's real. Is that real? No, that's not real. So... let me take a quick look, because I think I'm being lied to here. No. Yeah, we need to proc Breath of Fresh Air, either at the end of the first straight, or somewhere in the middle, I think, if I'm recalling this racetrack. I mean, I could just look at the racetrack, I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. Yeah. So, we go around, we start 1,000 meters, so 1, 2, 3, 4 straights, if I'm looking at this right. And in fact, it's a whole lot of pain. So basically, we have a lot of good moments in which Breath of Fresh Air should be proccing at. But also not being rushed to help out as well. But the odds of that were... yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. I can do another thing here while we're waiting. We might as well. We're sitting here regardless. So if I do this... and then I do this... so we'll do this. I'm being very vague here because I am using resources off to the side here, but we are going to... I'm going to do this while we're sitting here, and I'm basically just listening to see if I hear any procs. So, as we continue onward, assuming that we don't rush, but if we don't proc if we don't proc a single recovery skill, what is going to happen to us? Actually, yeah, I should just do this then. It must calculate adjusted stats with the URA scenario buff. So I'm gonna do this instead. And then, yeah, it's not gonna be enough. Oof. I believe so, but I guess we're gonna find out. And yeah, rushing rate, let's just do this really quickly here. I'm doing things to the side. So yeah, pretty much near enough 15-20% doesn't matter if I'm doing this correctly. I could be doing it wrong, but still, regardless, I mean, relative to everyone else's stats, we have less stamina unless we proc these stamina perks. So that's the consideration we have here. Did we proc Breath of Fresh Air? I didn't hear anything, so hopefully we proc it soon. We cannot proc it on the final spurt because we're going to take a speed decrease. Unless being rushed really hurt us, which it did. So I guess we're going to find out here in a hot moment. If that's the case, I can do this and see. Yeah, even if we weren't rushed, we would be losing things. So yeah, we should be able to win this race is what I'm trying to say. Now that we proc Breath of Fresh Air, unless we get blocked by someone, but no, because we're entering the final leg, which is when everyone starts accelerating. Similarly, Rudolph might push forward here, but again, that's a problem with our stamina consumption. So yeah, we're probably not gonna get first, but we will certainly, we should be able to place high enough to not suffer. If we have to clock again, I mean, I'll use all the clocks for content. Why not? Also, Simply Rudolph apparently procced her skill, so that's also gonna secure her first place. But otherwise, as long as we stay ahead, or maybe we don't have enough stamina, well, that's something to remember then. So-called gold ship enjoyer, by the way. Please? I think we're 4th. Hopefully that's enough. Yeah. I mean, that's the animation you see, but, oh, it's not enough. We need to place 3rd or higher. We'll do it for content. I'm just going to skip to the final spurt here. Actually, no. Actually, yes, because it doesn't matter. Apparently, as I found out, even if we proc the skill... No, we have after-school stroll as well. Huh. I guess we proc both of those. Actually, we should have been able to survive then. Question mark? I'm going to just do this to the side really quickly. Huh. I wonder why... Is that really the difference here? Hold on. Oh, it is. So, that's interesting to note. Well, it is possible for us to survive this race. We have to proc both recovery perks. So I guess we'll watch this race as well and see what happens. But again, we cannot proc either skill early on right here. It has to happen after the first corner, pretty much, into the second straight, or later. At least, again, in the end, I am just I'm speculating a lot here, but it is based on things I know. But if anything, yeah, it would have to be after school stroll that procs. We cannot proc Breath of Fresh Air. That would probably be a waste of HP. But otherwise, on top of that, if nothing else, we should have tried to go for more speed and power instead. But stamina would be the winner here. Stamina is by far the most important of the stats there because of how detrimental it can be. But in another way, if you have enough speed and power, you can take a lead, but you will slow down when you run out of HP. The hope is that you don't... It's not like your stamina is that below the threshold. Especially if you're not being debuffed, which is not the case here, so... Shrug. But yeah, otherwise this is pretty interesting. If nothing else, I mean, I am going to continue doing Gold Ship, and we're going to try to do this. I think this is the very first training session I've tried to make Gold Ship a sprint aptitude, or increase her sprint aptitude, so... Yeah, but even with that doesn't really affect what I should be doing here, because if I were... You can survive this scenario with about 400, 500 stamina. You do need recovery skills though, so and the reason why that's so good for me here is that that's pretty much around the range in which you'll survive sprint distance races anyway, so shrug. But otherwise, I would like to break out. Gold Chip, you need to break out, and then you also need to do a thing. So as I mentioned before, another part of it is having enough power to accelerate. In fact, your speed might want to be lower than your power at times, but that's only if you're fulfilling very specific conditions, like there are problems. Otherwise, obviously, your speed should pretty much match your power, if possible, as we get blocked here, apparently. And TM Opera O shoots forward, because she is also an Musume who really loves running forward. So, yeah, we see... I also saw Gold Chip moving up forward here, but it's not going to be as fast as others, but I guess we'll find out and see. We need Breath of Fresh Air, though. We're going to run out of stamina, I'm pretty sure. We might lose to Mayano Top... We've just passed Mayano Top Gun, but I think we run out of stamina and get passed up here, maybe. We need third at least. First... Second. Actually, second. Alright, never mind. I lied. Anywho. We don't need to get first. That's what I'm trying to say. And yeah, this makes my run a lot shakier because I use so many of my clocks. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I can run this deck and be good on stamina. Would it be safer if I took a stamina card instead, like my Max Uncapped SR Mayano Top Gun? Sure, but yeah, now we know what we need to correct here. So, no clocks left, just gotta survive on what we have. Top 3 Arima Kinen. Oh, we have to force stamina. Or this, because we get just as much stamina with power here. I would have liked to have gone to Japan Cup, but I don't think we can because we're probably just going to lose anyway. So, what we're going to do is rest instead. And then we'll see if we can take a power turn or a stamina turn. No, we have to skip. No, we have to skip this. We don't have enough to survive. Because, yeah, reaching URA championships, or becoming URA champion is more important than getting the 30,000 or 50,000 fans here. So, yeah. I think we'd still take the energy here. But we need a good turn. That's not as great as I would want. In fact, that's not great at all, so... hopefully an extra 10% increase to our stamina helps out, but boy, is it not going to look good. I'm pretty sure we have other favorites. I don't remember this. Yeah, there are other favorites that have more stamina than us, basically, so we're hoping for a lot. But the thingamajig will help as well. And actually, funny enough, no, it's Nakayama for the Legend race. Anywho. Yeah, we don't have enough for Go Home Specialist. Funny enough, taking Japan Cup would have allowed us to get these skill points needed, but I don't like it either way, so guess we cross our fingers and pray. So, pretty much from now on, what I'm trying to say is that we watch races just to see what happens. And if nothing else, you, the viewer and or listener, can play along with me, but we are certainly, even though we're number 2 favorite, boy, do our stats not look good at all. And in particular, our wits and our stamina. Guts should be higher for the sake of this distance of race, because you need more, having more, for those who don't know, basically, having more guts for longer races does help out. But you don't need your guts to be that high at the moment, because of the current state of global server. I think if I could just check this now. I might as well while we're waiting for this race. Actually, I don't remember, because again, I'm trying to find the exact piece of information. Did I put it somewhere else? I put it somewhere else, didn't I? I feel like I didn't, but I guess we did. So, as we sit here, again, I'm going to keep my ears open for any skills that are gold ship procs, but otherwise, not here. Really? It must be somewhere else then. I'm going crazy. Anywho. Huh, it's not here either, though. Trying to find out where I put it. Okay, that might be a bit early. That's probably a lot earlier than I want. But I guess I'd have to remember. Is this? No, I think I checked this already. I did. It's somewhere else. Well. As long as we don't get rushed, I think we have a good chance of winning. It's not the best chance. It's not what I would normally like, but, yeah, we'll stick with it. Oh my goodness. Going crazy. Also, on top of that, just keep in mind as well that I think it's adjusted wits that is used for the, essentially, I'm going to quote here, randomness per section in terms of your race speed. So yeah, you do want wits for that factor as well, because until I think it's the final lay, question mark? I might as well take a look here. So, looking for a thing. I think it's just last spurt specifically. But otherwise, I should just look for it here. So, we put this in. And moving on. So, okay, never mind. I need to find out where I'm reading it. But as we pull forward ahead here, if we proc our other stamina skill, I should feel a lot more comfortable. The power will certainly help out because we just want to accelerate. But if anyone else overtakes us with their skill usage, then it's the skill usage. But let's find out. If anything, I expect to lose speed here because we run out of HP at this moment. But if we don't, then hey, everything's cool. So hey. So yeah, I called that a little bit wrong. Although we did proc Breath of Fresh Air, so at least we got some use out of our HP, because otherwise if we didn't and then we get blocked or something, could have been very bad. Also note that your stamina use is affected by how fast your Musume is going. So the faster your Musume is running, on top of any other effects like being rushed, your stamina use will... You'll use more stamina. Your Musume will lose more, or will use more stamina. And let me quote something here to back that up. So, HP is consumed each second, which is equal to a calculation that takes into account the Musume's current speed, the whole base speed of the race in general, because that's a thing. For those who don't know, basically each racetrack or race length has its own base speed that all Musume abide by. But there are also other things like obviously being affected by rushed and the exact the ground that is being, so you might see the terms firm, soft, so on and so forth, that is affected by quote-unquote weather, but essentially that also has an effect on your HP consumption, so it is another factor that gets thrown into all the things you might want to think about. But anywho, so yeah, we're going to strictly concentrate on stats so we can win URA finals, but if we find any other good trainings, it would be nice, but we didn't find anything, so off we go. We need to survive this Takarazuka Kinen to reach summer training. So what I'm trying to say is, it would be nice to also, or it would be a good idea to increase our stats, our stamina here, if possible, like this. So, that being said, so just making sure, because I can just calculate this now if for no one else than myself, but if you're listening to along with this, or unless I'm giving out misinformation or information that's really, really incorrect, then yeah, I'm just gonna speak out loud. So, for this legend race, in case anyone forgot, or my notes are wrong, that would be really weird though. 9% go! 1200 meters Nakayama turf, and I think it's gonna be firm. It's usually just firm anyway. Sunny firm conditions. So 1200 speed as we get a mood hit to the face. But we need to rest first. Firm sprint distance, yes. We have, say, one... I'm just going to assume we only proc a non-unique, because our wits is probably going to... Actually... No, yeah. I like to plan for the, I guess, the strawman or steelman, whatever you want to call it. Basically, I prepare for the worst situation, but still allow ourselves the potential to have a good situation. I don't think we have enough stamina. I guess it's time to experiment. If nothing else, video format. I know I shouldn't be doing this, but it's fine. So what happens if you have 600 stamina? Let's assume this much speed, this much power, question mark. I don't know how much I'll actually have. That and this. As we set our next inspiration. A aptitude sprint? Question mark? I forgot how random these inspirations can fluctuate, but I guess we're going to find out. We didn't get A aptitude in sprint, so that's going to hurt us a little bit if I take this gold chip into the sprint legend race, but yeah, specifically for the stats that, well, basically where I'm at right now, plus an extra 100 stamina, I will have enough stamina for the legend race, even without proccing any recovery skills. So basically what this tells me is that I don't need to take any more recovery skills. Oh my goodness, that's so juicy. I want to take this, 13%. Yeah! And moving on. So yeah, with these stats, if I can hit the stats I'm looking at in my face, we should be good. In fact, we're already kind of good, but also you do need to take into account other stuff. Hold on. Firm conditions. Yeah, so theoretically speaking, I don't need to take Go Home Specialist here. So I guess we'll look at what we want to take to survive our goal races, or have a better chance at surviving, because nothing's ever guaranteed. So, 3,200 meters, oh boy, maybe I do want to take a stamina perk. If nothing else, if for no other reason than having 2 would be great. Yeah, I'm gonna do this instead, especially considering that our wits is so low. Our gold chip's wits value is so low. Let's try to make sure, let's try to improve our odds of having enough stamina for this longer Tenno Sho spring race that's 3,200 meters. Again, small questions, well, they are small questions, where does your Musume get her HP off of the adjusted scenario stamina, or is it the base stamina? Because I think your wits at... I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure. Anywho. Again, I'm sure a more veteran trainer would know. Most, but... If no, again, for no other reason than talking out loud, especially as we're waiting here for the loading screen. Again, I want to watch these races if for no other reason than for fun, but really I want to see what happens in the middle. So at current, our skill proc rate is about 60 to 70%. Maybe lower, but even if it was at 50%, I'd feel a lot more comfortable with these two, with both 2 recovery rare skills on this 3,200 meter race. because if nothing else, compared to the rest of our competition, if even just one procs, we should have enough stamina to survive. Now the question is whether or not we can pull ahead, but that's why I wanted to build power as well, because with more power, so as we get into that topic, let me just actually make sure, because I have notes, but I just want to be super sure by checking the source from the horse's mouth, if nothing else. So, if for no other reason, basically yes, as everyone is probably if you're a newer trainer who's heard of anyone with more knowledge has told you, the power stat does affect your acceleration. Now, it might not be the biggest change from like an extra 20 to 50 power, but if you have a lot more power, you'll accelerate a lot faster. Why that's important is that if you're Musume, and I kind of touched on this on the topic of vision and navigation and overtaking targets, but when you want to overtake a target, as it turns out, you want to accelerate faster. So the faster you can accelerate and the higher your speed value is, if your Musume can speed up, you want to accelerate faster to bypass your target. And the slower you do that, the more distance you lose to take first, essentially, and win a race. So, shrug. But also, at least, so another way I think about at least the first two parts of the race, the beginning and middle, is that your Musume is essentially vying for the best position for the strategy she's working at. So, end closers stay at the back of the pack to basically find the best path forward. Now, how they decide that is based on various factors, but for the most part, they're trying to overtake targets that are in front of them, and then basically a bunch of randomness happens in the middle of the race. So late surgers and pace chasers are also doing the same, but end closers have kind of the more flexibility to kind of weave through, whereas pace chasers, late surgers, while they may be using more energy here and there because they're in the middle, maybe they're getting blocked, maybe they're getting blocked, and so they get stuck, whereas end closers have the luxury of staying behind and finding a path, basically, which basically, I think is pretty logical in how Musume actually works as a whole. But as we get overtaken here, because either we're being blocked probably by Simply Rudolph, yeah, we're being blocked right now, so Gold Chip needs to find her way out, because otherwise we're not going to be able to make use of all of our speed and acceleration. And that's what power is for. But otherwise, if anyone procs their velocity, if we get a velocity up like McQueen there, we're probably going to have a lot more trouble winning here. So, yeah. But I think a lot of that is stamina here. It's going to be a lot of stamina. I don't think we procced a single stamina perk, did we? So we're definitely suffering. So, shrug. I guess we lose. We got 4th place. I think we needed to place at least 3rd, if not 1st. So, pain. So yeah, higher stamina could reach, or if we procced either stamina skill. But that was a wits problem and a stamina problem. Increasing either one would have helped out. So without further ado, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do one of two things. I'm definitely gonna try to do another gold ship run that's successful, but it's not gonna be in a video format, or I'm going to try to fish for higher sprint aptitude sparks, but before Legend Race comes up, I mean, the odds are not that great, so I mean, we'll do our best. I really don't want to take this gold ship into the Legend Race, though. This would not be the best. And yeah, we would be losing in a lot of places. But yeah, without further ado, though, if you have anything to say, if you want to correct me anywhere, which I probably, a lot of what I've said is opinion and speculation, but it is based on a known source. So, if nothing else, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, criticism, as always, as we close out this video, you know what to do. Otherwise, I won't take up much more of your time because we've gone on watching races where we didn't have enough stamina. Shrug. But if nothing else, it stands as basically proof if you want to just look at data and say, well, I don't want to do what Jordan did and suffer, so pain. But yeah, without further ado, I'll thank you for watching. I'm not going to take up much more of your time. Bye!